Hamlet's trap for the king has worked. Claudius has exposed himself, and Hamlet finally knows the truth. But certainty brings him no peace. Because before this night is over, the king will try to send him away. A mother will be forced to face what she has become, and Hamlet himself will spill blood for the first time. Claudius did not wait for the hall to settle. The play had barely collapsed before he was already turning shock into action. Hamlet could not stay in Elsinore now. Not after this. Not after that look in his face. He sent for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. "He must leave for England at once," Claudius said. "You will go with him." They agreed at once. Good, Claudius thought. No questions. When they were gone, Polonius entered. "Hamlet goes now to his mother's chamber," he said. "I'll hide and listen." Claudius felt suddenly tired at the sight of him. Polonius never met a secret he didn't want to crawl inside. "Go then," he said. Polonius left. At last, Claudius was alone. The silence in the room felt different now. Too clean. Too still. There was no one left to perform for, only himself. And what he had done. For months he had lived as if the thing were buried beneath ceremony, routine, and the business of being king. But the play had dragged it back into the light. The sleeping king, the poison, the theft that followed. His brother, killed in secret. By him. Claudius lowered his head. He should pray. Any man with sense would pray now. So he knelt. But the moment he tried, the truth rose up at once. What was he asking for? Forgiveness, yes. But not only for the murder, for the crown, the queen, the power, for everything that had come from it. And would he give any of it back? No. That was the thing he could not escape. He wanted mercy, but he wanted to keep what his crime had bought him. "Forgive me," he whispered. The words sounded empty, because they were. His mouth could ask. His heart would not follow. Hamlet left the ruined performance with certainty burning in him. The ghost had told the truth. Claudius had killed his father. That should have brought relief. Instead, it made everything sharper. The man wore the crown, sat beside his mother, spoke with perfect calm, and all of it stood over murder. Then Hamlet saw him. Claudius was alone, kneeling. Hamlet stopped. There he was. No guards, no witnesses, no distance left between them. His hand went to his sword. Now would end it. But as he looked at Claudius, bowed there like a man at prayer, the thought turned. If he killed him now, he might die clean. Confessed. Ready for heaven. No, that was not revenge. His father had died without warning, cut off in his sins. Why should Claudius be given a better end? Hamlet stood very still, violence held back only by thought. Not now. Let Claudius die in some darker hour, caught as he truly was. Hamlet let go of his sword and moved on. By the time he reached his mother's chamber, the fury in him had changed shape. It was colder now, harder. Gertrude stood waiting. "Hamlet," she said, already strained, "you have offended your father greatly." The words struck him like insult. "My father?" he said. "It is you who have offended my father greatly." Her face changed. She tried to recover herself, to speak with the old authority of queen and mother, but Hamlet had no patience left for it. "No," he said, stepping closer. "You will not turn away from this." Gertrude moved back. Fear was in her now. Good, some part of him thought. Let her feel something at last. She had married Claudius, shared his bed, helped make this horror ordinary. and still she expected to speak as if she stood above it all. Then a voice cried out from behind the arras, a man's voice. Hamlet turned at once. Someone was hiding there, listening. For one hot instant, his thoughts flashed to the king. His sword was out before reason could stop him. He drove it through the hanging cloth. A cry answered him. Then the body fell. Silence. Gertrude stared at him in horror. Hamlet tore the arras aside. Not Claudius, Polonius. For a moment, the shock cut through everything. Then, bitterness rushed in after it. Of course, Polonius, always listening at doors, always hiding in other people's business. Even his death felt like an intrusion. "What have you done?" Gertrude whispered. "A bloody deed," Hamlet said, turning back to her. "Almost as bad as killing a king and marrying his brother." That struck her harder than the body on the floor. He stepped toward her again. "No more pretending," he said. "You will hear me now." He made her look where she had refused to look, at the man his father had been, and at Claudius beside him. How had she gone from one to the other? How had she looked at both and chosen this? He spoke of Claudius with open disgust now, not as king, not as husband, but as he truly was, lesser, stained, corrupt. Gertrude tried to stop him. "Oh, Hamlet, speak no more." But he could not stop. Too much had been buried too long. He called Claudius what he was, murderer, villain, counterfeit king. Then the room changed. Hamlet felt it first as cold. The air seemed to thin behind him, and a stillness moved through the chamber so suddenly that all his anger broke against it. He turned. The ghost was there again. Not in armor now, not terrible as on the battlements, but pale and grave and filled with that same unearthly authority. His father, returned. At once the rage in Hamlet fell back. "Do not forget," the ghost said. "I come only to sharpen your purpose, but look to your mother. Her soul is at war with itself." Hamlet could not move for a moment. Then, as if drawn by something stronger than fear, he stepped forward. Gertrude had stopped understanding the room several moments ago. Polonius lay dead on the floor. Her son stood over him flushed with rage, and now, without warning, all that fire had gone out of him. He was staring into empty air. A chill moved through the chamber. Hamlet took a step forward. "Father!" The word struck her like a blow. He was speaking to no one. Fresh fear rose in her then, deeper than the first. Not fear of his anger now, but of his mind. His face had changed completely. He was listening, answering, looking into space as if someone stood there plainly before him. "Hamlet," she whispered, "what are you looking at?" He did not answer. Then, softly, with a reverence more chilling than shouting, he said, "No, I have not forgotten." There was no one there, nothing but air and shadow. Gertrude could no longer tell what frightened her more, that he might truly be mad, or that the room itself felt altered around them. Then Hamlet turned back to her. The rage had gone out of his face. What remained was calmer, and somehow worse. "How is it with you, lady?" he asked. "With me?" Gertrude said. "How is it with you? You look at emptiness and speak to it as if it speaks back." "There," Hamlet said. "Do you not see him?" "No." "Nor hear him?" "Nothing but us." He stared at her, as if her blindness made no sense to him. Then he mastered himself. "It is not madness," he said. "Do not comfort yourself with that. What I told you was true." Gertrude closed her eyes for a moment. She wanted to believe the opposite. Madness would have been easier than admitting that beneath his wildness he had struck too close to truth. "Do not go back to him," Hamlet said. "Do not return to his bed and call it nothing." Now there was urgency in him, not only accusation. "Oh, Hamlet," she said, her voice breaking, "you have split my heart in two. Then throw away the worse half." She looked down at her hands. A part of her still wanted to resist him. Another part had already begun, against her will, to see. Then Hamlet said, "I am to be sent to England." Gertrude looked up sharply. For one ashamed instant, she had forgotten it. "Yes," she said softly, "it has been decided." He spoke bitterly of the friends who would escort him, and she heard in his voice that he expected treachery now as naturally as other men expected weather. At last he stood. His eyes went to Polonius. "For this," he said quietly, "I do repent." Then he bent, took hold of the body, and dragged it toward the door. Gertrude flinched at the sound. At the threshold, Hamlet paused and looked back. "Do not betray me," he said, "and stay away from Claudius tonight." Then he was gone. Gertrude remained where she was, with blood on the floor, and Hamlet's words still alive in the air. Nothing in the room looked the same anymore. Before this night began, Gertrude could still pretend that what was rotten in Denmark might be hidden, endured, or smoothed over. Now Polonius was dead. Hamlet had seen the ghost again, and the king, already afraid, would soon come looking for answers. Because the next chapter would begin not with silence, but with a body to hide, and a court suddenly forced to reckon with blood.